Hi friends, I'm Yakuta Karkhanawala. So today we are going to start with the new chapter, that is functions in C. Okay, let's recall this topic, that is structure of C program, which we have seen in the chapter fundamentals of C. What was the structure of C program? A C program is divided into different parts: documentation sections, link part, definition part, global declaration, and main and the subprogram. Okay, we have seen all these different details of different parts in my earlier videos. As you can see, in the last part of the structure of a C program is subprogram sections, which has number of different functions: 1, 2, function 1, function 2, function n, which are user defined functions. So today we are going to concentrate on this particular part, how to create this part and execute it in a program, and why do we need it. So we'll start with the introduction of functions. First of all, why do we require to learn functions? In normal circumstances, we have a large complex programs. We don't write this particular complete program, maybe it may be of 100, 1000 lines and so on. This complete program, we don't write it inside main, but what we do is this complex program is been converted or is been divided into smaller sections or smaller parts. These smaller parts are known as functions. So a large program is divided into smaller sections, and these sections are known as functions. You can have as many functions as you want in a C program. This type of approach of writing a program is known as structured programming language. What's a definition of the function? A function is a block of statement. It performs a specific task. So one advantage of function is that we can divide a complex program into smaller parts. Another thing is, suppose if you want to perform a task more than once in the program. So there are two different ways of doing this. One is copy that particular task and paste it at the different sections of the program when you want to execute it. Say for example, I want to do addition of two numbers. I've written a program for this, right? I've written some statements for doing addition of two numbers, and this particular addition of two numbers I want to execute at different sections in my program. So what I'll do is I'll copy this part of addition of two numbers in different section of my program. So I'll have number of different locations where I'll be performing addition of two numbers. Another option is you create a function, add, inside that do the write down the code of addition of two numbers, and then simply call this particular function. So your code is written only once, and wherever you need to perform addition of two numbers, simply you need to call that particular function. You don't need to copy paste or write it again and again. So in this case, instead of copy pasting, the second option is much more better option. So it's a good practice, and a good programmer always uses functions while writing codes in C. For repetitive work, you should always go for functions. So let's summarize the advantages of functions. What are the different advantages of function? First is better readability. If you divide your program into number of sections, the reading of the program becomes very easy for the third person. Next is function can be called several times in the programs, allowing the code to be reused. Means another important advantage of function is reusability. As I already explained you, that if I want to perform addition of a function, I don't need to copy it every time or write it at every time at different location, but instead of that, I'll create a function of doing addition of two numbers, and I'll simply call it, writing once and then using it as many times as you want. That is known as reusability. Functions helps us to debug or test our program easily. So if you want to find out errors in the program, using functions it becomes easy. How? I have a code of additions of two numbers at 5 different locations in my program. Now if there is an error in my addition of two numbers, then I had to rectify this particular errors at 5 different locations. Rectifying your errors is a tedious work. So, but if you have used functions, then you have to just rectify the errors inside the function. and you don't need to make changes anywhere else. Next is also functions decreases the size of the code since there is no duplication of the set of statements. So these are the four very important advantages of function, that is readability, reusability, testings becomes easy, and reduced size. The program becomes comparatively smaller if you use functions. Now our next topic is types of functions. So we have two different types of function. The first one is predefined standard library functions. We also tell it as inbuilt functions. Means these are the functions already created and it is stored in your compiler. We simply need to call these functions to execute our task. We have already seen some predefined library functions like puts, getters, printf, scanf. The code of this is already written. We was simply calling this function and executing our task. These functions, predefined library functions, are available in different header files like printf, scanf are available in stdr.h file. Then we have seen different string functions like strcpy, strcompare, strcat. These are available in string.h. So you have different header files, and in this header files we have different inbuilt functions which are already stored. You can use these functions directly. If you want to use predefined library function, you just need to do calling. You don't need to write down the code of this function. Another thing is making function right from scratch, that are known as user defined function. The functions which are created by the user, it's not available in your library. These are created by the users or the programmer. So this was a basic simple introduction of functions. That is why we are using functions and what are the different types of functions. That's all for today. Thank you. Goodbye.